And now it all boils down to that one equation. The border is absolutely wide open. If you're in Mexico, if you're down here in Naco, Sonora, and you have a sack full of cash, and you have the right connections, you can be in any city in America within 48 hours, and you're guaranteed to not get caught. Guaranteed. You will not get caught. Now, where you go with that in your mind is up to you. But they're saying since 9/11, it's all, well, you know, we gotta keep the terrorists out or whatever. I'll guarantee you, and I'm not saying we're gonna be attacked by an Islamic extremist who walked across John's ranch or my ranch with a suitcase nuke. I don't know. But I do know if you're in Mexico and you want to be over here and you have money. Now, if you're a Guatemalan that has walked up here and you're wanting to go to Phoenix and flip burgers or change sheets in a motel room, that's a totally different story. But if you're on the border and you have money, you can come over here and you will not get caught. Am I telling the truth?
That's exactly right.
And they refuse to say the border is wide open. That's what it all boils down to.
Will you not get caught because there are people on our side, both legal and extra legal?
Now you're getting into
Sorry.
You're getting into another level of. It all boils down to my original statement.
Right.
How we get there. Number one, the amount. Well, we'll leave that for last. Another thing that I didn't understand when I came here, but in this border area, these border towns like Naco, Nogales, Douglas, I have interviewed, I've written some articles. I mean, I have really tried to understand what's going on here. And you go into Douglas and you start interviewing business people or people that are in the know. And by and large, everyone agrees that somewhere between 30 and 70% of the people that live in this area, and most people say it's 40, 50, 60%, are in an illegal trade. They're laundering money for the cartel, they're packing drugs, they're packing money back into Mexico or something. Close to half the people in this area are involved in the illegal activity. So that's one thing. Another thing, the Mexican outlaws have an intelligence network that far surpasses anything the CIA or the FBI or anybody has. They know what's going on here. And what John and I could explain how they do that. But the fact they know what's going on, number two.
And they just...
Number three is the level of corruption. The only thing that matches the level of corruption in our government agencies, such as the Border Patrol, is the incompetence. You have those two factors. You have some agents. Not everybody that works for the Border Patrol is a sorry human being. I'm not saying that. But the corruption is astounding. And those guys, the Border Patrol, the average Border Patrol agent is making 2.5, 3 times more than the average median income of Cochise County. They have guaranteed retirement. The average American thinks the Border Patrol is like a section of the armed services where they are, you get your hind end down the border and you're standing at mile marker so-and-so with your M1 and you guard the spot. That is not the way that they're protected by a labor union. They work 8 to 5, whatever. And they don't have to do anything. They do not have to do anything. And because of the political climate in America, they are encouraged to do, if not even blatantly ordered, to look the other way and accomplish nothing.
Do you attribute that, sir, to decrease in activity on your land when you said you tossed out the Border Patrol because of the corruption?
Well, John needs to weigh in on all these things. Well, John and I talk about this, and there's theories. I don't know. I think it's a combination of a lot of things.
Something changed for them. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's a combination. The Mexicans, this is one thing John and I both would say is going on. Like, I have a friend who has that land grant you're talking about over there at Nogales. He's a cowboy, he has a large tract of land, he's a rancher. And on the west side of his property, very close, is a huge Border Patrol checkpoint on Interstate 19, 20 miles north of Nogales. He's right there. Well, here about 11 months ago, he was on his ranch, a horseback, in some rough country, and he rode up on 7 Mexicans in full camo, and all 7 of them had an automatic rifle. He rode down the trail a ways and ran into 2 Border Patrol agents. He told them, and this is a fearless, rugged man. I mean, he's John Wayne. He's what John Wayne wished he was. And he said, we can go back up, we can get them all. We don't care. And you can look right across 15 miles to the spot where Brian Terry was murdered.
So he said to these guys, these 2 Border Patrol agents, we've got 7 guys in camo here.
With AK-47.
Let's go get them.
With AK-47. And they said, who cares? So you have the checkpoint right there with 30 or 40 agents sitting there on their butt with their thumb up their hind end, doing nothing. And right out there several miles is hundreds of thousands of pounds of dope and lots of Mexicans. Why is that? I think it's the Mexicans, they know the Border Patrol's right there.
Right.
They just kind of slip through there. Another theory.
Well, as long as they have them concentrated there and know that they're not going to go anywhere else.
They know the Border Patrol doesn't care. Another theory is the Mexicans use the Border Patrol. The footback traffic keeps the Border Patrol busy, and while they're busy running down these guys with a few ounces of dope or even 50 pounds, they got a Mercedes going up the highway with $1 million worth of cocaine in it. So, you talk.
Well, can I ask real quick? Why did you decide to put locks on the gates? Because they were...
The gates on my property is just like the gates on John's property. It's all on deeded land. We can control the access if we want to. We were letting the Border Patrol on there as a privilege, and the law states that you cannot deny them access up to 25 miles north of the border. So they had their own lock on there, and I knew the combination to their lock, and everybody was happy. So I just drove down the highway, and I left. The power company has a lock, I got a lock, the gas company's got a, there's several locks, the Forest Service got a lock. I just went down through there and took the Border Patrol's locks away and told them to go jump on the lake.
Because they were doing so much damage to the land?
Yes. They were screwing off, doing nothing, tearing my ranch up, running into cattle and killing them. I was filing claims to be reimbursed, and they would not reimburse me. And they're just tearing the place up. And they weren't accomplishing them.
But at the same time, your activity rate went down 95%.
Yep.
Just the facts.
Yeah.
You talk for a while.
I don't know where you said it all. No, I've got them locked out of about a little more than half of our range, and I locked them out of a quarter of it 6 years ago because they constantly leaving gates open and cost me a lot of money. I had a bunch of calves consigned to an auction and communicated, said, man, when you're in there, you make sure those gates are shut. And they left them wide open, and it cost me a lot of money. And I locked them out. And then over the years, you try and talk, and I deal with them more than Ed does. And the difference is I'm on the border.
Yeah.
Ed's 25 miles from the border. So But we're both south of I-10. That's the whole secret right there. And so, but my opinion from the Border Patrol is, number one, it's convenient. Number two, the Mexicans government and our American government are coordinating the people coming in. And the Border Patrol, I've had two guys that were pretty high up in Border Patrol, they're both retired now. And they said Border Patrol's main mission was to control the influx of Mexican citizens so as not to hamper the activities in the city. They wanted to meter the people in to let them assimilate and then get jobs and go, and then, but, so the corruption is, okay, we're gonna catch so many today, and if there's 200 more coming, we're not gonna do it today. And that's been going on. I got elected to be the Border Patrol liaison, and 23 years ago, because we didn't allow Border Patrol on the ranch, period. And that, you know, they had 6 agents here. And I've never thought much of the Border Patrol, and I think less of them now. But we were having so much trouble that my dad and I decided that, you know, we'd let them come in and start catching them. And, you know, 10,000 gallons of water every day, we'd lose it. Gates, fences, cows. I had 8 cows hit by Border Patrol. We got paid for one. I don't know how many water troughs. I don't know how many gates like this. And they won't reimburse you.
How do they destroy them? They just
Run through them, back over them, reckless, don't care.
They're just like a junior in high school with a hot rod car and an extreme high dose of testosterone. They got a $50,000 pickup full of government gas. They don't know a damn thing. They're just out there hot rodding, or they don't care. It's like a bunch of kids.
And that's it. And well, and then the other, and I think I probably have, I don't have any real close friends at the Border Patrol, but I have some decent friends. And, you know, dealing with them for 23 years, there's 5 Border Patrol over those 23 years that I trusted, and 3 of them are retired now. And I deal with them every day. But number one, they're not our friend. You know, they look at Ed, when Ed talks about if we do something, then, you know, we're involved and we're corrupt, we're dirty. You know,
by protecting your land?
Well, just because we live on the border, and that I didn't, even when.
And because we're bucking the system.
Yeah, and we fight it, and you know that everybody that ranches, you know, your ranch is you, and you're not going to let somebody tear it up. You know, we work too hard at it, and the Border Patrol expects you that, well, we're here and we're going to tear it up, and no, you're not. And I've tried for 23 years to have a written agreement with them. They will not enter into a written agreement. But the Border Patrol, in my opinion, and David Aguilar was the head of Border Patrol, and he is the problem. And I think he's a extremist that has infiltrated the system. And my opinion is that the Border Patrol is going to be the federal agency to control the 25-mile strip, not only on the southern border, but around the whole country. It's just the way they act, and my dealings with them. And I have no use for them.
And over the 25 years, it's gotten worse.
Oh, absolutely. And before 9/11, there was, you had to be a pretty good individual to make the Border Patrol in their screening systems and background checks. After 9/11, they reduced that severely. And then they cut the training by 9 weeks. And what they're concentrating on now is if you're a gringo, American, doesn't speak Spanish, you have to go another 3 weeks to learn Spanish, but if you speak Spanish, you get out early. And I says, how does that work? I said, all you need to know is siéntese, that means sit down. They put all the emphasis on the federal law and speaking Spanish. And they don't talk about, and I've spent countless days, ranch etiquette programs for the Border Patrol, ranch tours. It does not work one bit. And I don't like them. They're part of the problem. They are the problem.
Have they ever said, okay, we're gonna train them a little bit differently just for the ranchers to
Nope.
learn how to be around the
Well, that was
livestock?
that
and
ranch etiquette
the-
class.
Yeah.
There were 3 ranchers that we got together, you know, and I've been involved with, from day one, with stakeholder groups and citizen advisory and all that. And it's a dog and pony show. Well, we're so glad you're here, and this is, this isn't my lifestyle, and you're out of your element. You came from Buffalo, New York. You have no clue what we're doing. And if you don't want to listen to us, I don't want to deal with you anymore. But they've never, ever wanted to train their agents how to act on their ranches. And 80% of their area is on ranches.
Do you think that's intentional?
That's absolutely intentional. And that we have to have access. For what? I've got a steel wall, the whole ranch. I've got 4 cameras, permanent cameras. I've got a radar unit right above where we parked up there. I got 300 ground sensors.
They're yours.
No, that's Border Patrol. I said it's on my ranch. There's $40 million worth of government infrastructure on this ranch. And nothing's changed from 23 years ago.
Wow.
And, you know, we'll go to the border, but we've had 46 trucks full of dope in the last 25 months, cut the wall down, drive in, and they've caught 1. Does that tell you? And there's been 6 drive-throughs right in front of a permanent camera. And that was where the last one a week ago today was.
Would you care if I told them how they caught this last one?
Go ahead. I couldn't.
The Mexicans laid rocks in a gully so they could drive their truck across it. And they hit it too hard and the airbag exploded where they couldn't drive it anymore. They passed under an 85-foot tower with $1 million camera that the Border Patrol can read a license plate from 3 miles away. And after the fact, we find out that the camera has been inoperable, broke down for a week. The Mexicans knew it. They didn't catch nobody. The darn airbag blew up in the Mexican's face, and he had to abandon ship. And we caught the guy. And they didn't catch any of them. They got 1,700 pounds of dope, but the Mexicans all got away.
That's right.
Do you think it's an accident that the Mexicans drive trucks underneath a camera, $1 million camera that's not working? Is that just a coincidence?
I don't think so. It's intentional. And the people coming, every one of them is outlawed now. The people coming to better their lives, they're already here. The people now is bad guys.
All bad guys.
Yeah. And they're going back and forth.
And how often do you see them? How close do they come to you?
Well, yesterday about 5 o'clock right down here.
Right on
I'll
top
tell
of
you, when you guys pulled up, for the last 2 months, I haven't called Border Patrol on groups. And I usually, for 23 years, and I've caught more Mexicans than any Border Patrol up there, or called them in. But they cause so much disruption when they come in because they're so inept. And I do like the Horse Patrol, but I can't get them here constantly, consistently. Well, anyway, I driving down to go feed some cows last night, and this wetback comes out from under one of the bridges. The railroad goes through, it's abandoned, but anyway, it took me about 5 minutes to decide whether to call the station and tell them. And there's another permanent camera right here. The radar's right there. There's another permanent camera right over here. So I'm thinking, well, do you know about the guy below the bridge? I don't know. And so, okay, well, he's got a gray t-shirt, khaki pants, and black day pack. And So I went on up, and about 20 minutes later, had an agent call that I know a lot of the agents, and he's not a bad guy. And he says, well, where do you think that wetback was? And I said, well, I called it in. I said, is it the railroad bridge below the barn? Oh, well, they told me it was at the barn. And I said, well, where are you at? And he said, well, I'm on the other side of Naco. That's 30 minutes. And he said, well, where is he now? And I said, well, he's at the highway now. And he said, well, how do you think I ought to catch him? I go, you're asking me? I said, he's gone. He's picked up and gone. Well, I'm the only guy on the border right now, and you're on the east side of Naco, yeah. So so to me, he isn't part of the system.
Right.
He's still on the outside, because he's telling me all this. I'm the only guy on the border, and how should I work this? But that's, there's two examples, and that's a daily event.
So where are the rest of them? At the checkpoints on the freeway?
Those are the ones that, the checkpoints down here run out of Wilcox. We've got over 400 at the station at Naco.
Yeah.
Douglas has got 600, somewhere in that neighborhood. Nogales is 700, largest station on the southern border at Nogales. Douglas, out closer to Ed, he's dealing with Lordsburg and Deming stations. But it's a deliberate strategy to let Mexicans get here, and obviously it's a deliberate strategy to let dope get in here.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, now they're not letting so many Mexicans in, they're letting the cartels in, right? I mean, so you're not seeing families come
Right.
across at all
That's
or
right.
anything. So it's a deliberate effort to just not get involved. I mean, they're not facilitating families anymore.
No,
They're just looking the other way for the drug trade.
that's what it seems to me. And I think that the illegals that we're getting, when I call them, Ed's term is better, but they're Mexican outlaws. But when they're coming back and forth, they're just scouting.
Really, for the
Sure.
cartels?
And on the east end of the ranch is where we got all the human traffic. On the west end of the ranch is where all the dope is. And so,
Wait, why? Why is that?
well, they're using the human traffic up here as bait for because they know the Border Patrol would rather come catch a wetback than go catch a load of dope. So, the night of the other deal on the last Thursday's drive-through, normally they've all been in the daylight. And this one happened at 3:30 in the morning. But in the meantime, and here again, I know another agent that's telling me the whole story, is they had a group of 12 Oaxacans that they caught below my dad's house at the same time. And they didn't have socks or booties. And that's what all of the human traffic's wearing. You can't track them anymore.
Because they're not wearing shoes.
Well, they're wearing shoes, but they pull this stuff over. They have factory-made booty like sheep's wool, and if you can't afford them, you put on sweat socks to cover your tracks. Well, so they baited them, and Oaxacans are peasant Indians.
Right.
So they said, okay, you guys go here, while they ran the dope.
And the cartel runs all that
Yeah.
down there. If you're a Oaxacan or from Guatemala or wherever, and you come up here to the border, it's almost impossible to get in here without the cartel finds out who you are. So they use you. They may force you to pack dope. They may force you to cross at a certain place so you'll be bait for the border, but they'll use you however. And you don't just come to the border anymore and cross. The cartel controls all that. And they have a million different things that they may want you to do, force you to do. And if you don't do it, they'll just kill you.
Yeah.
That's it.
How
That's it in a
many-
nutshell.
It's hard to imagine that, so you call one night And in this whole place, we are told that we've never had more border patrol guys in the whole wide world than we do right now.
That's right.
We are
That's
manned
true.
on the border.
They don't
20
need,
And you make a call and they say, I'm the only guy here.
they don't need more, but that isn't the problem. The lack of agents is not the problem.
Civilian law enforcement is the biggest problem.
How so?
You have no discipline, no accountability, and then they're controlled by a government union. And
If you're,
Well, in to when Brian Terry was killed and when Nick Ivy was killed, and we had Aguilar made one statement, and the highest ranking border patrol west of Washington's in Tucson right now, but they both made the statement that the most important thing for the border patrol is for the agents to go home to their family every night. And while I've been accused of being cold-blooded and pretty radical, I said, if you don't think that that's important, you're not very smart. But you're making $85,000 a year base pay, you're a federal officer with a gun and a badge, and your duty is to protect the border. I think that you have some risk in there, and you might not go home to your family if you're gonna do your job.
but that's not the way.
But that, they absolutely will not do that.
And they've actually pulled back up off the border, correct?
Yeah.
The border patrol is not on the border. Border patrol is at my house, 25.
That, when I go from Douglas to Ed's, I see more border patrol than I see anywhere down here.
The
On
year
the highway.
Rob got killed and the 12 months after Rob was killed, I went to the border south of my house, which is east of Douglas, at what, got some people named Glenn, Warner Glenn, very famous rancher, very good guy, very good man. John's friends with him. I was down there 4 times, 3 times with congressmen, one time 3 congressmen from back east, and one time with an author. And well, I was there 5 times, another time with a Tea Party group from North Carolina who made a documentary. And there's a spot exactly where the outlaw that killed Rob crossed the fence. It's about 12, 14 miles straight east of Douglas. And we were there for an hour or 2 at a time, and then on those 5 trips, we never saw a single border patrol agent on the border. You go north of my house on Highway 80, and there's dozens of them. So that's another dynamic we have here that the average American does not understand. And according to law, the Border Patrol cannot be denied access up to 25 more miles north of the border. Okay. I will not let them on in any kind of motorized vehicle or a horse, but they can walk, they can crawl through the fence and walk anywhere they want to. I don't care. I just won't let them come on my place and tear stuff up with their vehicles. David Aguilar, who was the head agent under Napolitano, he made a public statement in a speech, it was very well documented, that he went up to 100 miles in a statement, didn't he?
Well, yeah.
Or 50.
Well, it
He
started
said the
out-
border, that basically, this isn't word for word, but very close. He said the border is not a line. The border is an area 25 to 50 miles north of the border, a strip, an undefined area, and you cannot say that the border is a line.
Yeah.
That's the government's